If you've ever looked at your Diablo 4 character and wonder why you're absolutely getting destroyed, armor might be part of your problem, but the game doesn't exactly make that easy to understand. And if you're a new or returning player, it gets even more confusing. Diablo systems have changed over time, and while you can search online for answers, the information you find doesn't even always match what's currently in the game. I've had to look up these mechanics too, and sometimes figuring out which ones are still accurate is part of the problem. By the end of this video, you'll know what armor does right now, why it matters, how much you actually need, and all the major ways you can get it. So let's start with the most important question. What does armor do? So at its simplest, armor is reducing all incoming damage your character takes. That's including from both regular damage and damage over time effects. Something the game doesn't explicitly tell you, and if you're returning from older seasons, it may have changed over time, but armor does in fact protect you from all attacks, all damage, elemental and physical. And that's why ignoring armor can make you feel extremely squishy. It is your overall base defense. Even if your toughness is really good, your max life is good, your elemental defenses are good, a lack of armor will be your downfall in the long run. Well, that leads into our next segment. How much armor do you actually need? The important thing to remember about armor is that there actually is no hard cap. Unlike in previous seasons, right now always adding more armor can be a good thing. However, you do have to remember there are diminishing returns on that, and that each point of armor you add is less effective than the previous amount as you get higher in those totals. So for most players doing most content between Tournament 1 and 12, 75% armor should be your baseline. There might be some classes that can go a little under that, but overall 75% should be a good baseline for every class to shoot for. And if you want to end up doing any tower pushing or pit pushing to higher, you'll definitely want to look at closer to 80% or higher, because every point or percentage of armor that you add at that point is drastically reducing the overall damage that you're taking. Because there's no cap, that doesn't mean just go stacking armor everywhere you can because you want to get more of it and it's going to reduce your damage. As I said earlier, with diminishing returns is one reason, but other reasons is you do need other stats on your gear. You still need elemental defenses, you still need other offensive stats, so you don't want to just go stacking all armor just to get that up, thinking that, well, that's going to be your overall way to just survive all damage. It will help a lot, but remember, you still have to kill monsters. So to recap that part, just don't worry about some magical cap that you need to reach. Just look at a baseline. 75% is good. Upwards of 80% is optimal for really high-end pushing. Okay, so like, what if you go check your character and you're still under 75% or almost there and you want to get there? How do you do that? Armor naturally comes on all your non-jewelry pieces, but we do have some other ways you can increase it. You can temper armor onto your defensive slots like your helm, your chest, your pants, and your amulet while you're at the blacksmith. So armor can actually roll as an affix on any piece of gear that's not a weapon. So if you're missing armor on a piece of gear and you want it, you can go to the cube and add it at the cube if it's an eligible piece there, or you can go to the enchanter and re-roll to get armor on a piece of gear that you need it on. Certain defensive aspects can also be added to defensive pieces. Juggernaut and Bruiser are a couple of examples here that you can add depending on what build you use. And gear isn't your only source of armor in the game. Strength gives you armor at 2 points per strength for every 1 armor. Paragon, nodes, and glyphs can also add armor. Some mercenaries also have defensive passives like right here that add armor to your character. And depending on your class, you may also have some skills that add armor when you use them that will also give you a big benefit. So if you're short on armor, make sure you check these sources first because you're only 1 or 2 changes away from fixing the problem. So what all does this mean for your character? So if you think you're dying or getting hit really hard, armor is the first thing I would check for to make sure that that is in the right spot. So look at how much armor you currently have and compare it against the content you're playing, and then go through all the sources we just talked about before you go and change your entire build. Once you understand each layer individually, Diablo 4's defenses become a lot easier to understand. Armor is only one piece of the puzzle. I'll be breaking down the rest of Diablo 4 systems in the exact same way. So if there's something in Diablo 4 you still don't understand, let me know in the comments below what you'd like me to explain next.